Hello and welcome, or welcome back. This is Hecate's Torch, your guide back to your own inner light. And today we're going to be having a little chat about telepathic communication. I want to start by saying that telepathic communication, oh my god, this cat drools and she's drooling all over me right now. Telepathic communication, I feel can also be called energetic communication. And the reason for this is because what's happening in this kind of communication is not so much, mental to mental, mind to mind, but more like energy to energy. And this is because the cat is all over the place. She's so sweet though. This is Stella. She's our outdoor kitty and she's the best and she's so lovey and loves to snuggle. Girl, you trying to give everyone a show? Okay, so, and this is because at the foundation of everything, we are all connected through the same energy. God, source, whatever you want to call it. And that is why we are able to communicate on these energetic levels. One can also view it as quantum as well. So now that we've covered a little bit more in depth of to what is actually happening when this kind of communication is occurring, I also want to say that everyone communicates this way. This is not something that's reserved for special people. And when I get into what this looks like, a lot of you, if not all of you, will understand exactly how and what I mean by all of us do this. So with that, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what energetic communication looks like. And for the sake of this video, I'm going to be calling it energetic communication. You could call it quantum communication. That does sound pretty freaking cool. But I'm just going to be calling it energetic communication because I feel like that is a more accurate name than telepathic. Again, I feel like telepathic just makes maybe the imagery makes people focus too much on the mind and it's not mental. So now that we've covered that, what does it look like and what does it feel like to be in energetic communication with someone? There's multiple different ways that it feels. In an everyday way, we are constantly energetically communicating with everyone around us. We don't even have to try to do it. The way that you react to certain people, the way that you respond to certain people, the way that they respond to you, your relationships that you have with certain people, they are all like all those little kind of quirks and tensions and ease, whatever it looks like, all those little differences. It wasn't supposed to. That's fucking weird. Oh my god, what the fuck? This video was not paused. I was recording and it said it was paused. It did not say it was paused. It was just blinking for some reason. It stopped on 444. And when I clicked it, then it paused, even though it was not recording. And then I had to click it again to unpause it. 444 for some of you. Okay, so now I have to go back and see what I missed in this recording now. Okay, that's crazy. The cat knocked over the phone at 4:44, 4 minutes and 44 seconds. And it did not say it was paused, so I just kept going. And apparently now I have to redo what I said, and it's always, of course, gonna be for a reason. That's wild. Kitty, that was magic. She's magic. So I think I was saying like how this looks going back in, how this looks in your day-to-day relationships and meeting people. So say if you're like, say this is a stranger type of situation and there's like maybe some anger involved on either on your side or their side, but for the sake of this example, let's say that let's say that you get provoked by someone and you get really angry, and you don't usually get angry and like attack people. What can be happening in that scenario is that your energy field and theirs were interacting, And what they are putting out could be that they are used to being attacked, that they are used to people getting angry at them, or like, or maybe beliefs of like, I always do something wrong, or, you know, kind of something like that. And you pick up on that energetically and you respond in a way that you usually don't. That is energetic communication on a very basic day-to-day level. It's always, this is what I'm saying by like, we're always communicating energetically. Because we're all interconnected. Like, it's impossible to not communicate energetically. So I just feel like that might be empowering for some people who feel like they're like, oh, I want to be able to do this. You're already doing it. You've done it your whole life. Okay. You want to get a little bit deeper into how this can work in interpersonal relationships. I do have some examples that I'm going to be sharing throughout this video of my own personal experience with telepathic communication, energetic communication, sorry. And most of them are going to be from my relationship, because that's just kind of like what is, you know, I'm always in and always around, but also some friendships. So what this can look like interpersonally, I'm going to be sharing an example that I have experienced. Okay, I gotta just say, it's kind of creepy living in the woods sometimes and just like fucking hearing noises out there. I got my pepper spray, but still, it's a little scary. Okay. So in the way that I have experienced this, and again, take this and apply it to your own life. With my husband, sometimes there's like an anxious energy around attachment. And for a long time, it was confusing because I was starting to get like kind of anxious and like weird feeling, and I wasn't really sure why. And kind of recently, I was able to realize that the anxiousness wasn't, sometimes it comes from within me. Again, it's important to distinguish, and also important to communicate these things so that there's not a incorrect assumption being made, because sometimes that happens, and I have done that. But I thought this anxious energy was solely coming from within me, but a huge realization that we had and have been talking about recently is actually this anxious energy that's within him because of his past experiences. And so an example of this recently was we were like kissing in the kitchen, and it was feeling really good, and like really like no pressure or weirdness, anxiety around it, which had been rare for a long time. And so we were kissing, it felt really good, and then maybe like 10 minutes later we're kissing again, knowing that we're going to be intimate, and there's a different energy there, and it's not feeling like that kissing that we had 10 minutes ago. I noticed because of how I was feeling, right? The kiss was not feeling as good, and there was some weird energy. And then when he was touching me, like, it was like, I don't want to be touched right now. I don't want to be touched by you. And so I asked him, I checked in with him, and I was like, how are you feeling? And, you know, he told me that he was good, but he was feeling worried about me. And I'm like, and that's part of his anxious past experience of being worried about the other person and their experience in it, if they're feeling good. And so, you know, I told him, don't worry about me. And we started kissing again, and immediately, like, it kind of just melted away. And then we were, you know, going to be intimate, and the anxious energy comes back. And there's a couple times where I check in with him again, because I can just feel the energy changing. And because I have a little bit more experience and knowledge with this particular interaction and the way this energy kind of shows up in our relationship, sometimes, you know, I checked in with him a couple more times, and I asked him, why does he think he's feeling this way? And that was enough, simply asking him why he was feeling that way, and then kind of allowing him to realize he didn't need to feel that way, like released the energy, and basically, you know, like it was like, this energy like doesn't belong here, these feelings don't belong here. I kept reassuring him that I was enjoying myself, and then it just disappeared. And so that is one way that we can communicate energetically, is through feeling others' emotions in our bodies, or the way that our bodies are responding in an unpleasant or pleasant way to someone else can be telling us how someone else is feeling. And I do want to again emphasize that it's important to not just take what you are receiving and put a 100% true label on it, saying this is what that other person is feeling. Because in my experience, our own filters, our own biases, our own stories can sometimes get mixed up in that response, and we can create our own versions of what we think they're experiencing, and actually sometimes it's different for what that person is experiencing. Does that make sense? Because sometimes I'll think my husband is like upset with me, which he like never is. But sometimes, because of my own personal experiences and previous experiences with men, sometimes I'll think he's upset with me and he's not. and so that's my own energy that and my own stories that are coming up. So yeah, that's part of why it's important to communicate what you are receiving with the, you know, whoever it is that you are in relationship or who you are connecting with, because they can clarify it for you, and then things can shift through that communication. It's really cool and it's really fun. All right, another thing that I want to bring up is what you are thinking is not always how the other person is going to receive it. And what I mean by this is you may be trying to intentionally think maybe happy or positive thoughts around someone, for example. And just because you are thinking those things does not mean that's how they are going to feel and receive that energy. If your energy underneath those thoughts says something entirely different. This is because like I said, it's not just telepathic communication, it's energetic, it's quantum. And what you are sending out there energetically through your state of being is what they are going to pick up on. So you can say and think all these nice things, or all of these, I don't know, all of these things. And as long as it is not truly aligned with your state of being, with your beliefs, it is not what is going to be received by the other person. So we are always communicating energetically with other people, right? But how do we know when the thoughts that we are receiving, or the energy that we're receiving, is someone else's and not our own? These kinds are like certain thoughts or feelings can come in suddenly out of nowhere. And not all the time, you know, but sometimes that can be a sign that someone is intentionally or not intentionally energetically communicating with you, that you are picking up on their state of being, their energy, and on some level that they are sending it to you, whether it's consciously or subconsciously. So yeah, just sudden thoughts popping up into your mind, visualizations, sensations in your body, sudden urges or desires. These can all be signs that you are energetically communicating with someone. For me, it kind of comes as like sudden, like I said, sudden popped up thoughts or visualizations, but also in my body. And that's again why it's not just telepathy, it's energetic communication. It could be throughout your whole body. So those are the three ways that I usually receive energetic communication. One of the ways this looks like recently with my husband is because I have also been, as I've been increasing my knowledge on manifestation, I've also, of course, been sharing it with him. And man, he uses it to, sometimes he'll use it to manifest intimacy. And one day he was driving home from work. I'm suddenly getting intimate flashes, visuals in my mind and thoughts, and I text him right away. And I'm like, are you manifesting something? Because he was so anyways, he was thinking of me the whole way home, and intentionally trying to manifest intimacy that evening. He's so funny. And I was picking up on that. And again, as you become more conscious and like with me and my husband, have someone to communicate with this about, you can start to see and differentiate the energies even more. And it's really fun. I just texted him. I was like, "Are you manifesting something?" And he knew what I meant, and he said he was. It's really funny. I want to share another story that I've had of energetic communication with a friend. And she was over at my house, and she said something that kind of triggered me, honestly. And I was like, why am I triggered right now? And sometimes also, like, when these kinds of energetic communications do happen, it's because it has a place to land in you. And that's why we can have different relationships again with different people, is because the different ways that our fields all align together. And so she said something that triggered some anger within me. And again, I don't usually get, okay, am I lying? I think I do get angry, but I just suppress it usually. Okay, anyway. She said something that triggered some like anger within me, and I've had this sensation before where I just kind of like feel it like rising within me, and I'm like, it's like a heat, like an energetic heat of like anger, and kind of feeling like in that moment it was because I felt like I couldn't say what I wanted to say, and this like projection of like a female authority, and that I can't say what I want to say because if I do that it will cause trouble, so therefore I have to hold it in, and now I'm pissed off. And anyways, I ended up dissecting this with myself in my voice notes. If you have been around and watched my videos, you know I love my voice notes. And I was talking it out with myself and came to that conclusion of what I just said, that whole story that I have within myself of not being able to say what I want to say to this female authority figure because it could cause problems. But I kind of came to that realization because I was like, that's not true. Like, there's a homeless lady down there and I'm scared. She's just a homeless lady. She's fine. She's fine. Okay. So, anyways, the way I came to that realization was, yeah, because I said that's like not true. People can have conversations on things that they disagree about all the time, and it doesn't mean that there's going to be problems. And so from that, I realized the internal story that I had, and that in that moment, I didn't have to not say what I actually wanted to say. That I could have said what I wanted to say, but it was just this story within me of that I couldn't. So anyways, getting a little bit off track here. I ended up telling her after I processed it, like, hey, like, this moment triggered me, and also feeling okay telling her that because I knew that she wasn't going to take it personal. This was my own story that was getting triggered in that moment. And what was really interesting was that in that same moment, she also had an energy within her of like, maybe that was too harsh. Maybe I shouldn't have said it that way, and feeling like, you know, maybe she like overstepped in a way. And so it was really interesting of like her energy of like, oops, like that might have been kind of rude, and my energy of like, that felt kind of like hostile, but I also kind of see you as above me and I can't disagree with you, triggered each other. And so that's just another example. And we talked it out, and it was beautiful, and it was lovely, and it was so, again, so fun. It's always so fun once you start to realize these stories within us and how they play out in our personal relationships. It's so fun to go over them with other people if they're open to it. Another thing that I think is very important to note is, especially when you're first learning it, energetic communication is very subtle, very subliminal. Like I said, so much so that it's like you think it's your own thoughts or your own energy sometimes. And in a way it is, because, you know, we're all connected. And even though we're all connected, we're in this experience experiencing separation. I don't think we're ever going to experience what it's like as while we're in these human bodies to experience what it's like to be all oneness truly at the level that we do when we are not incarnated. But yeah, so it's deeply, the energy is deeply interconnected, and because of that, it's very subliminal sometimes. when you are energetically communicating with someone. I also want to add that this can look different for different people. I know that I kind of process things in a more earth-based way. I'm learning through my schooling. And so that looks more like kind of sensations in the body, experiencing it in a really like grounded, straightforward way, such as like feeling other people's feelings or other people's energies that they're sending me like in my body. But like I said, I also sometimes experience visuals as well, but one could also say that's kind of a grounded way to experience something is through a kind of sense like that, a visual sense. So yeah, sometimes you might experience it in a more air type of way, as in like it just drops into you. Maybe feels a little bit more mental, like traditional telepathy is. It could be more in a water elemental type of way, which is kind of more flowy, could be a little bit more abstract. And then fire is like, what is fire? I actually don't know fire very well. Probably really like, I would imagine very direct. How would fire perception work? I actually don't know. If you feel like you energetically communicate in a more fire-based type of way, please tell me what that looks like for you. This whole concept about looking through it through an elemental way might be a little bit more abstract as well. It's just something that I'm learning in my school right now. So that's kind of why it makes sense to me. But all of that to say that you might experience energetic communication differently than I do, different than the examples that I gave. And if you do, then I would love to hear how you experience it. All right, it is 11:13 on the clock. It's 11:13 here. It's getting late. So I think that is all I have to talk about with energetic communication tonight. And I'm sure as this evolves more for me, that I will have more to share about it, but that is everything that I have for you guys today. So I hope that you enjoyed. Let me know what you learned. Let me know if you can see parts of this in your own life. And if you took something from it and you experienced something like this later on, I would love for you to come back and share. I love hearing about other people's experiences and how these videos sit with you guys. All right, I'll see you guys next time.